Brenda first met Lara on a rainy afternoon during their freshman year in college. The storm had just begun, and Brenda, hurrying home from class, had forgotten her umbrella. As she stood under a tree, shielding herself from the downpour, a girl in a black dress approached her. "You look stranded," the girl said, her voice calm yet oddly chilling. Brenda hesitated but nodded. "I forgot my umbrella." The girl extended hers. "Come, I'll walk with you." That was how their friendship began. Lara was different from the other students, mysterious, quiet, yet incredibly persuasive. Over the years, they became inseparable, but something about Lara always felt strange. She had a way of staring too long, of knowing things she shouldn't, and of always being at the right place at the right time. But Brenda dismissed it. After all, she was her best friend. Their bond deepened over time. Brenda would visit Lara's house often, a dimly lit mansion at the edge of town. The house was eerie, with antique paintings that seemed to watch her every move. There were rooms Lara never allowed Brenda to enter, doors that remained locked at all times. Lara had peculiar habits, whispering to herself at night, collecting odd trinkets, and frequently disappearing for long hours. Brenda chalked it up to Lara's eccentricity, but deep down, she knew something was off. One evening, Brenda stayed over at Lara's house. As she lay in bed, she heard faint chanting from a room down the hall. The voices were low and rhythmic, like an ancient ritual. She tiptoed toward the sound, but as soon as she got close, the chanting stopped, and Lara appeared in the hallway, staring at her. "You shouldn't be here," Lara whispered. Brenda's skin prickled. "What was that?" Lara smiled faintly. "Nothing you need to worry about." Brenda nodded, but couldn't shake the uneasy feeling that something was very, very wrong. A week before her 22nd birthday, Lara handed Brenda an ornate, black invitation with golden lettering. "You have to come to my birthday party. It'll be unforgettable." Brenda studied the invitation. "The location. Where is this? I don't recognize it." Lara smiled, but her eyes held something sinister. "It's a secret place. But trust me, Brenda, you'll love it. You're my special guest." Brenda felt a shiver creep up her spine but forced a smile. "Of course, I wouldn't miss it for anything." That night, she dreamt of a dark forest, of whispers calling her name, and of a grand, empty mansion surrounded by eerie, flickering lights. The days leading up to the party were filled with strange occurrences. She would find black candles appearing in her room, despite never owning any. Her reflection in the mirror would distort when she wasn't looking directly at it. She heard whispers in the wind, calling her name. The night before the party, Brenda's mother tried to convince her not to go. "Something about Lara has always seemed off," her mother warned. Brenda brushed it off. "She's my best friend." Her mother sighed. "Just be careful, and if something doesn't feel right, leave." Brenda nodded but didn't take the warning seriously. The night of the party, Brenda followed Lara's directions to an old abandoned mansion outside town. A long, candlelit pathway led her inside. She expected music, guests, and decorations, but inside, the mansion was silent. A dozen people in dark robes stood in a circle, their faces hidden beneath hoods. In the center was an enormous cake, black as midnight, with candles flickering blood-red flames. Brenda swallowed. "Where is everyone?" Lara stepped forward, her black dress flowing like ink. "They're all here, waiting for you." The doors slammed shut. Brenda turned, panic rising in her chest. "Lara, this isn't funny. What's going on?" The robed figures began humming in unison, their voices low and vibrating through the air. The room darkened and shadows slithered across the walls like living creatures. "It's time," Lara whispered. Brenda's stomach clenched. "Time for what?" A deep voice from the shadows answered, "For your initiation." Brenda's breath hitched as the robed figures began chanting. The flames of the candles grew taller, casting shadows that twisted and moved as if alive. "Lara, what is this?" Lara's smile darkened. "My initiation, and yours." Brenda took a step back. "What do you mean?" "Every year, one of us must bring a new soul into the circle. Tonight, that's you." Brenda's pulse pounded in her ears. "No, I'm not doing this." Lara's eyes glowed an unnatural shade of red. "It's too late. You came willingly. That means you accept." The robed figures reached for her, whispering in a tongue she didn't understand. The walls seemed to pulse like a living thing, and the ground beneath her feet trembled. Brenda screamed, but no sound came out. She struggled trying to break free, but the shadows wrapped around her arms, pulling her toward the center of the room. Lara stepped closer, pressing her forehead to Brenda's. "It'll be over soon," she whispered. Brenda's mind raced. If she didn't leave now, she would never leave at all. She turned and ran toward the doors, but invisible hands pulled her back. The room distorted, stretching into an endless abyss. Shadows wrapped around her, squeezing, suffocating. Then, a voice, soft yet powerful, whispered in her ear, "Break the candle." Desperate, Brenda lunged toward the black cake and grabbed the largest candle. As she smashed it against the floor, a piercing scream filled the room. The robed figures staggered back, and the room shook violently. The doors burst open, and Brenda ran, her heart hammering. Behind her, the mansion collapsed into darkness. She never saw Lara again. But every year on Lara's birthday, Brenda wakes to find a single black candle burning at her window. No matter how many times she blows it out, it always relights before morning. Terrified and shaken, Brenda packed her belongings and left town, hoping to escape the shadows that haunted her. But the darkness was not so easily left behind. No matter how far she traveled, the feeling of being watched never faded. She would wake up in hotel rooms to find black candles waiting on her nightstand. Whispers echoed in her ears in the dead of night. Shadows moved unnaturally in the corners of her vision. She changed her name, moved across the country, and tried to forget. But the darkness was patient. Then, on the anniversary of Lara's birthday, Brenda received a letter in the mail. It was black with golden lettering. "You can't run forever, Brenda." Her blood ran cold. The next morning, a single black candle burned at her window.